All right, looks like we are getting started here. We've got the Ether Medallion right off the bat in in the Dark World Link's house. This is randomized sword, so we start out swordless at the moment. We have to go find a sword or a hammer or some form of offense in general.
And it looks like both of these people are going to the south route towards the Stumpy first. Let's see what he has. Oh, and an 8 bomb drop from the very first enemy.
That's going to come in handy there. We'll be able to get to Hype Cave right away in those 5 items.
Are you guys ready for a 30-second in Hype Cave hype?
We get a piece of heart there. Oh, we got the lamp. That's always a good find there. A full heart container. Another piece of heart. And we got 50 rupees there. Now, we do start in the Dark World, and that comes with all that implies there. The enemy's damage and health has not been changed. So they are going to hit for a truck when you are at just 3 to 4 hearts.
And well, kit required for bombs, so I guess we won't be seeing anyone who's going to pick up those. And we are going to see Acmlm going for the really early Skullwoods play, which is not bad. The only problem is 3 hearts, enemies hitting like a truck, and only 2 items in here. Will it be worth it?
We'll have to see. With no sword, it's going to be a bit of a dodgeball session in here. Looks like P-Train is heading towards the south end of Dark Kakariko Village. Going to check out what's in here.
I think he's just going to get more rupees just to get the, the digging game.
Yes, because this is restarting in the Dark World there. We don't have a stash of rupees stashed up from the Light World. So with all the... yes, indeed, he did find the powder in Skullwoods. Won't be able to check out the... won't be able to check out the magic bat just yet, but something to definitely keep in mind. Now, with enough rupees to go and take on the digging game, we'll see what that's a good, easy check to acquire.
And the room Acmlm is in right now is such an annoying room without a sword or anything.
Those Gibdos are fast, they are persistent, and that Wallmaster is not making things any easier.
And let's not forget that they still hit for 2 hearts, which at this point is 2/3 of their health.
Yeah, they will 2-shot you at the very least there. It looks like he's waiting. Intentionally gets grabbed by the Wallmaster? Not sure what was up with that. I think he just had a not a good setup for the statue. Couldn't get it pulled in all the way and then had to reset the room that way.
And it looks like he's happy with this one. So let's have a look, see what's in the big chest. Well, vanilla big key chest. It's just the
Decides to hug his way out of the room. And P-Train, after checking out what was over there, is deciding to go for Skullwoods as well, since it's right on his path up towards Dark Kakariko. Or through Dark Kakariko, I should say.
But so far, we haven't really found anything in Skullwoods except for the powder. So he has picked up the big key, so he's probably just going to check out the... Oh, wait, he didn't. So I guess he's just death warping for the bombs right there.
Yeah, this early in the game, we don't have all that much of a stock of bombs at the present moment. So getting enough bombs to get you through all the walls is definitely important.
I like this tactic by Acmlm. You don't see it that often that people grab the 4 bombs right there. Well, 2 times, twice, well, 2 bombs.
The Skullwoods is very useful in terms of that, because the doorways are everywhere and anywhere, so death warping doesn't set you back hardly at all.
Ooh, we just had a map check with green pendant being at Swamp, ice being another pendant, and the rest being normal. So we have our 5-6 crystal in the light world and our last pendant as well.
Oh, and we found the gloves in the C-shaped house. So that is part of our light world access, as we should say. We will still need the pearl, and we will still need either Titan's mitts or the hammer to be able to get at to the light world. The requirements to use the portals have not changed. So this being inverted mode, the requirements for what dungeons you can go to is a little bit different there because since we no longer have access to the light world, we are now stuck in the dark world at the moment. So Thieves Town is always a popular pick because it has very little item requirements to it. So where do you think these runners are going to go next?
I'm guessing that they will definitely head into Thieves Town because the first 4 chests you don't really need a weapon to get in there properly. It's just the final part that is really nice.
Alright, P-Train finds the Moon Pearl inside of the chess game in Dark Kakariko.
That is a nice start. He's just one item away from light world access.
Alright, so let's see. We have P-Train being the first person to venture into a dungeon. Acmlm is going for the digging game. We'll see if what P-Train finds inside of Thieves Town. As you mentioned, we have these 4 chests we can get right off the bat, and can go deeper if he so desires.
Well, on the positive side, P-Train did find the map, so now he knows exactly where to go on Thieves Town. But so far, no items just yet, so we might have to dig deeper into Thieves Town just for that one item you need.
Indeed. And Acmlm finishes up with the digging game. Only got 5 rupees out of it there. It was the number of digs it required is a lot. And we've got P-Train finding these silver arrows inside of Thieves Town there. Not really required, but it makes things a whole lot easier for sure.
I think a lot of runners love finding silvers this early because it means that I think roughly 60-70% of all bosses just go that much faster with just planting a silver arrow.
Venusaur takes a couple less hits there. Vitreous becomes a joke. The Armless Knights can you be just one shot at a piece, and of course Ganon, you don't have to rely on the silverless glitches to be able to take him down.
Oh, and Acmlm going through the cave to go up to Death Mountain without a lamp, without a sword, but this is pretty tricky stuff, to be honest.
This is not your normal Death Mountain climb. I don't believe did they change? Well, okay, yeah. We still got the old man. The old man has to be returned to the light world to be able to get his prize, so he's going to be following us around for a little bit.
And it looks like we're going to see our first hint from P-Train. Some cash is in plain sight. Well, that's a hint everybody finds very useful.
Indeed, that is not useful in the slightest there. So we have Acmlm is doing things that are in logic because we do have the lamp available to us at the present moment. And we will be able to check out what is in from. We get the old man will give us there. As we are a bunny, we can still have him follow around, and we will get the prize from him this way. And a reminder, as a bunny there, we can use the Book of Mador, we can pick things off the ground, and I believe we can talk to NPCs, but not much else is available to us at the moment.
But by the logic, we have to see progression in Spectacle Rock, because I think we have checked roughly every single thing with in logic. And I just love how people just go blind for the Spectacle Rock play, since there is that little hint tile in there, which is nearly always a...
Well, we do have our first sword, so that is definitely a good progression here. That will open up a few things, but still not our official Light World access.
But we did get the most important hint of the game. Beans is a really important meal for breakfast, guys.
I'm very tempted to recite a childish rhyme at this point there, but I'm not going to. But Acmlm is going to be checking out Hype Cave on his own. He's going to pick up that lamp that he ended up not needing to get to Death Mountain, but it will give him the knowledge that what he did is in logic. So that's always comforting.
The difference between Acmlm and P-Train at this point is that Acmlm can effectively finish off Thief's Town because he does have a weapon, which P-Train kind of lacked.
You'll be getting it very shortly, though. He's escorting the old man around, and we'll be going to Spectacle Rock very shortly as well, I would imagine. In any case, there, once we get that sword, where do you think that we're going to be going next there? Palace of Darkness, it still is bow locked. Can't get the Swamp Palace yet. Skullwood, no Fire Rod, and Ice Palace we can swim to if we had the flippers, which we do not at the moment. Misery Mire is flute locked, and of course also medallion locked, and Turtle Rock is also medallion locked. So any progression that we would have would appear to be in the overworld somewhere.
Yeah, I think the next step is kind of going to be that little old man on top of a really big tower with dark and blue nights and red nights and blue. Because we have every single thing just to get around in the Light World at this point, except for the original access.
Ooh, you are correct. This might be a Ganon's Tower Aga 1 play. If we can. I believe we can do everything that we would really need to. We have the lamp. We don't need a Master Sword to get in there anymore. That bat barrier is gone. We have the sword to get through. I'm sorry, the lamp to get through the dark room, and we now have a sword to fight him with. So, lacking any other place to really go at the moment, there, we would have. Looks like we have to go to Aga 1.
Indeed, unless Thief's Town still comes up with something, because if I remember P-Train going through there, there are still 3 items left in. And P-Train is going for the Aga play at this point.
It would appear to be so, yes. Now, I will note that these stairs are a new addition to... No, they're not. I'm crazy. But yes, we are heading over towards Ganon's Tower. If we can get over there. I believe that the train has been modified with a few stairs to get up here now. Yes, it has.
And he's going to check out Super Bunny Cave. I have actually completely forgotten about that. Okay. Oh, he's going to get a little bit bullied by the Lionels. But it looks like he played a lot of Galactica back in his age because he's dodging those Lionels like a bomb.
That was some expert dodging on 1 heart left there. That would have sent him way back, and no one wants to do that. But we have made it here to the Super Bunny Cave, and we've got the Book of Mandora. Interesting find. I believe we would need the Master Sword or higher to be able to access the Ether Tablet, if we could get there in the first place. But that does, when we get to the Light World, we can now access Desert Palace.
And of course, we can always check that little location in the forest as well. That pedestal is always really nice knowledge about that, but in this case, it doesn't really matter all that much because we still have to do every single dungeon either. So
this is true. Yeah, this is all dungeons. Ganon is invulnerable until all dungeon bosses have been completed, including Aga 1. We did find out that Turtle Rock requires Bombos, a medallion we have not seen yet.
And here's everybody's favorite Aga Tower play. 1 heart and, well, just the fight.
Thankfully, we were right at the front door, so Death won't send us that far back, and it looks like he's going to take advantage of that as well. Acmlm is going back into Thieves Town there. Has picked up the mating. Going to be heading back and taking on Blind once we get back to that boss room.
These knights take 4 of these double spin slashes to kill with the fighters.
It's not what you want to do, but it is the safest way to do things. And we got Acmlm going into the blind fight.
So the blind fight at this point will say whether the Aga play of P-Train is the correct one or not.
All dungeons are pretty much locked to him otherwise at the present moment, and takes him down blind, easy as pie. And from that, we get a piece of heart. More health isn't not bad, but it is not the progression we're looking for. Thankfully, it is a crystal. Well, not that the crystals really matter too much in things in all dungeons, but it is a boss on the board, so that is puts him up at 1 boss to nothing.
The only problem that Acmlm has at this point is that he has not been able to check the T-Sound Big Chest yet. And as we all know, that is one of those locations that is always going to stick in your mind if you're lacking. Whereas P-Train will probably wait for the hammer at this point before returning it to Thieves.
Yeah, you've already dipped it once there. If there's something in that chest and you complete blind now, you might be required to triple dip in Thieves Town, and that's no fun for anyone involved.
We have ourselves another hint tile. He's just trying to enchant those lovely guards with his powder. And a glove is in Tower of Hera, so that's our Titan's Mitts right there.
Interesting. So that means that we can't we have to find the hammer somewhere in the Dark World to get our official Light World access, or this Hera play is the one that we're looking for. I'm sorry, Aga 1 play is the one that we're looking for.
I think P-Train's really satisfied with that Hindo, because it means that he has a 50-50 shot at this point, meaning that his Aga 1 play is the correct one yet.
They both look to be in Aga Tower at the present moment. There, of course, one has a small lead at the present moment. But we will be getting into the Light World fairly quickly at this point.
And since we are heading up to Aghanim, how many blue balls do you think, and how many blue balls does chat think that he will throw before P-Train?
I'm going to go with 3 at the moment.
I see someone in chat absolutely loves these runners on Aghanim. He even says 14. I'm going for a nice and healthy 4 myself.
Alright, well the fight is starting, so we can start counting. This is a lot easier than the Aga 2 fight, as anyone would suspect. So it's mainly just playing tennis with the boss. We've got our first blue ball right there. Oh, and there's 2. We've got them back to back.
We are still en route for the magical 15. Oh, no, we're not. That is 2 for 2.
Alright, that's about 4 hits on Aghanim right now. Only about like 2 remaining or so. So 1 more hit should do this if this is not a blue ball. We've got a 3rd blue ball.
In the meanwhile, Acmlm gets knocked off the ledge by the blue guard, which is really, really annoying.
Still sees pits in their castle anyway. Is it not up to code? The safety inspectors are going to have a fit. Alright, so P-Train is our first into the Light World officially.
Let's see what he is going to do.
Looks like he is going down to Zelda's cell at the moment. I believe that the Ganon fight itself is a bit further up for where it ported you, near that big door. So this is pretty much the same as it would be in vanilla, just minus we just took a little bit longer to get here. Alright, there's our first shield. It's nice to have, not much else to it, but hey, shields are good.
Well, at least the Fisher Price shield can evolve into a fire shield, and that can evolve into the magical gold shield. At which point we know that it's pretty much useless except for lasers and T-Rock laser.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But I'd say the fire shield is the most immediately useful out of any of the shields, and getting this tier 1 will definitely help in that regard. Alright, and Acmlm finishes up Agro 1, is now in the light world as well. Probably will be checking out that escape sequence as well.
He's going to be friendly and go to his long-lost uncle, which has been in there for roughly 21.5 minutes.
Alright, and what does Uncle have today? Uncle has a heart piece, ripping out a piece of heart from his still unconscious body. Good job, Link. And Zelda cell only has a big 20 in it. So we would have to go onward to the escape sequence there. P-Train seems to be looking to defeat this guard through love so that he can death warp back to the beginning of the castle.
I think he's hoping for the sewer chest to have a small key so he can go all the way into the back of this.
Yeah, well, we could get to the... We could go into the back of those 3 chests through the old way, through the graveyard if you wanted to. But we still got a couple chests here in the sewer section, like you were saying. So yeah, that's it. You're here. Why not? It's not that much of a time sink to do it.
The only thing is that if you find the map in here, that is the most depressed feeling you can have. Walking all this way for a completely useless chest, which has...
Got a key. That's something. Let's just move forward. So most likely the map is in one of these others, the 3 chests at the back.
Or the one in Sanctuary, which they still haven't not opened and inverted.
This is true. There, we just got to the light world there, so the chest has not been checked in Sanctuary. Saving and quitting now puts you at the dark world variant of it, as is expected. So no chests there to check immediately out of the gate.
So let's see, 3 chests with a heart, 300 rupees and 10 arrows. That means that the Sanctuary chest has the...
Death warping via rat. A painful, slow and painful process. All hail the Lord of the Rats.
I think P-Train's actually happy that he did not manage to pick up a male upgrade yet, because else that one took like a long...
Alright, and he's going back into the sewer. Did he forget to check something else? Oh, he forgot to check Uncle himself.
And Dogdo, thank you very much for the 250 bits. That's much appreciated. So far, the entirety of Escape has pretty much not brought us anything of...
I'm a little bit surprised that after being in the light world, this is a new tile here. That does take you. It's pretty much the equivalent of appearing right after Aga 1. How those gates will take you to the Dark World. The tile there will take you to the Light World here now after you defeated Aga 1. So this does make a little bit of a shortcut there. We are now in the Light World. We'll be able to start our South Shore checks here. And going over to Kakariko there. You'll notice that that cave South of Grove, Cave 45, whatever you want to call it there, has had the ledge removed, and it's just grass right now. So that has made it a whole lot easier for to be able to get at it there, because we can no longer mirror to that location as we were discussing earlier.
And as weird as it may sound, after 25 minutes and inverted mode, we are going to see what is inside of Kakariko. Oh, endgame having a cane of Burna. That is a peculiar find. Let's see if anybody goes.
Looks like P-Train wants it after all. It is a unique item, and it does have its niche uses, but even so. And another change to inverted mode, we also have these stairs up to the graveyard ledge, as we can't mirror there anymore. So, good for that. And inside the graveyard ledge there, we've got a piece of heart. More health is never a bad thing, but not what we were looking for. P-Train picks up his cane of Burna. And where will everyone go from right now here? Inside the Light World, we do have the lamp. We can get to pretty much, and the books. We can get to all three of the Light World dungeons at the moment. Can we get to Tower of Hair? Or do we... I believe we're going to need the mirror for that, or...
Did you just see what was on library?
I didn't get a good look at it. I'm sorry.
We have a fire rod, well, on top of the library. So boots are required in this seed, as both T-Rock and Skull Woods are a pendant or a crystal. Well, they are in fact always required since we're doing all dungeons, but you know.
So we're gonna have to find those boots to unlock a number of dungeons here. We don't have Ice Palace being one of them, as we don't have Bombos yet.
I do wonder what sadistic person put a fire rod on top of a, well, library filled with paper.
Clearly they're forbidden books, and it's an emergency self-destruct button. Alright, so now that we have made it to the Light World, we'll be able to check out the wealth of goodies that's within Light Kakariko Village. P-Train opting to go straight into the well. Acmlm is going for Blind's hideout, even though Blind is no longer here. And Acmlm finds the bow inside of Blind's hideout, the back of it. And P-Train, not wanting to be outdone, finds the Master Sword and the flute over in the hideout. So Light World Kakariko is coming through with a treasure trove of items here.
Well, go towards Kakariko and you have all the tools you need in order to go all the way across.
Now, I will remind everyone there that you have to activate the flute in Light Kakariko, but you can only use it in the Dark World. That's another change made to inverted mode, or for inverted mode here. But with that bow pickup here, that now puts in logic both Eastern Palace fully completable, as well as Palace of Darkness fully completable as well.
Well, for Palace of Darkness, we would still need a certain thing with some wood and metal on top of it.
Oh yeah, a lot of dungeons require the hammer that you don't normally remember using them. I remember I kept dipping dungeons and running into those stupid metal pegs, and I was like, oh right, this dungeon requires hammer as well. Palace of Darkness requires it, Swamp Palace requires it, Ice Palace requires it, and a few others that I'm forgetting at the moment.
And I think P-Train forgot to activate his flute while he was there in Kakariko Village.
Thankfully, he's not that far away. He'll remember soon enough.
And Sick just giving a big 20. But it does give P-Train like a second trip back to Kakariko just to enter up that bottle. And well, it's a good thing since he just activated this flute. He was like, oh wait, I still have to do that.
Alright, Acmlm is checking out the chicken hut there. I believe we saw P-Train check this earlier, so it still only has a big 20 in it. So we've checked out the bottom merchant. He doesn't have anything terribly interesting, but we did get a bunch of stuff from the well and from the hideout. So now we're activating our flute. We will be on our way to we will see where next. I am going to assume that I would... We do know something's in Tower of Hera. The question is, can we get to it?
I would assume that both of our runners will head towards Eastern Palace since it is a crystal, it is required to clear the dungeon, and they can complete it fully with silver. Let's see, Acmlm just saw the cane of Brian. What is he going to do with it? He is just going to nope out of it.
It's like, Brian, I don't need you. I've got cooler friends to go hang out with. I've got a world to save. Peace out.
That, my friends, is the life of Brian by Monty Python.
Alright, so we are now in the mire on P-Train's side. We'll be able to see what the requirement for Misery Mire is, and I didn't get a good look at it. Shoot.
It is bombos as well. So that ether medallion they found way at the start in Link's house, well, they could have just left it.
Pretty much. And the Mire Shed doesn't have anything of use. Acmlm is going to be heading over to the desert area. He has a book for access to Desert Palace, so be able to check out Agina's cave right now, and then just take a quick jaunt over to that sandy shrine.
Well, the only issue is that Acmlm did not check the Super Bunny cave out yet, so he does not have it. He is just going here for for this cave and the checkerboard cave, which is also accessible through the light world now.
Oh, you're correct. He does not have that book. That is, unfortunate. But gets those couple things, but not what we're looking for at the moment. Meanwhile, P-Train is heading over to... Probably going to be checking out the Mini Cave.
Did you just see what I saw? We have ourselves a red pendant on Tower of Hera, which has the myths as.
Well, it is. It is an all dungeon, so it's not the end of the world there. But that is not the most immediately useful dungeon to go looking in.
I am actually very surprised that Acmlm did not go towards the checkerboard cave. Oh, and there's our boots, aka Fire Rod. That is a really nice find, hidden behind Sahasra. And the mirror as well. My goodness, we're finding items left, right, and center.
Oh, the mirror is inside the Light World Swamp. Very interesting. So now that gives us access to Swamp Palace, I believe. No, we don't have any flippers yet. We can't get inside the door or the first waterway.
But we are going to have a look at what's inside of Eastern Palace, a crystal dungeon fully completable in logic and everything.
Will also give us a couple hints along the way as well. Meanwhile, Acmlm is going towards Mini Moldorm Cave, going to check out the goodies that lie within.
And that's our fire shield. That means that the desert ledge has the gold shield already. That is a really, really early gold shield.
There you go. Many seeds you go without finding that mirror shield. So it's a bit of an oddball to find, but hey, we'll take it. And not to be outdone, Acmlm finds... Oh, wow. Okay. I'm losing track of all these items we're finding here. We got the flippers, we got the temper sword, we got the hammer, Mini Moldorm Cave, new hype cave confirmed.
Indeed, that is the new hype cave in the light dark world in inverted mode. So that allows us to immediately clear off a pod, EP, Thieves Town. Well, basically, we can enter roughly 3 to 4 dungeons right now just from entering one simple cave. That is insane. But we are going to see a little hint right here from B-Train. A map needs fire. That means the basement is going to be not required.
Ooh, yep. Well, that's good. We don't have to sit through that tile room then. That's always a good thing to find. Meanwhile, Acmlm is going to be taking his rupees and going to pay King Zora a visit. Only some bombs on the ledge, so that's a small sidetrack he won't have to make. But P-Train is going to be finishing out the Eastern Palace at the moment. It's interesting. They each have a bunch of items that the other one does not have at the moment. There, P-Train has the book and has the boots, and will soon have the fire rod after he finishes this dungeon. Where Acmlm has picked up that treasure trove of items from Mini Moldorum Cave.
Oh, and King Zora ripping off us once again. 500 rupees for just that one big. I really want to learn from his business model because he is making a fish load of money.
That's another fox one I said. It's called hustles.
And Peter, knowing that he only has dungeon items remaining, he's just going straight for Armos, and he's going for that. ACMLM sort of mirror bonks, but is actually going to be able to check out Catfish right here. We'll see what Catfish has to give us while B-Train is making his way towards the Armos Knights. Yeah, just a pile of bombs. Explosives are always nice, but not what we wanted. I've always wondered how bombs can still function after being underwater with Catfish for that long.
Imagine that they've been using the water bomb technology from Twilight Princess.
Yeah, but this is a link to the past. How can they move into the future? I'm confused. But that was a very solid fight from B-Train right there on top of Ice or Armor.
Alright, Acmlm is going towards the hobo. Good, that's a good place to check to get all the flipper lock locations out of the way. It just picks up $50, so it's not the poorest hobo in the world.
But so far, this seed has been throwing a lot of progression items towards our runners, and, well, the thing we are waiting for at this point is the hookshot, because hookshot will allow our runners to go into Hera and grab the Titan.
I am trying to personally figure out exactly how Hera works in inverted mode, because we do now have the mirror on Acmlm's side there. Is that how we would get there normally, or do we have to go around the long way around Death Mountain?
In inverted mode, the only way to get into Hera is to use the hookshot and hammer method. So, well, they will need to get out to go there. And we are going to look at Ice Rock Key, which is just a little piece of art.
Alright, P-Train is picking up his pile of goodies from Mini Moldorum Cave. He's going to be very happy to see it. We'll see where he decides to go with that. But now, both of our runners are tied one boss to one boss, although those bosses are different. Acmlm has finished out the Thieves Town, whereas P-Train has gotten a handful of goodies from the... Ooh, there's looks like Pyramid Fairy has a piece of heart, and what was the other one?
I think it was a unique item and a thingy, so Pyramid Fairy could very well be required. Especially because the requirements for it are already met by P-Train. He doesn't even have to pick up that fire rod, it is accessible by him.
Does he have both of the crystals right now, though, to get the big bomb?
He only needs desert, and he already finished off Eastern Palace.
is true. And ACM, speaking of Desert Palace, ACM is heading there right now. And with the bow, it might be now that he's got that hammer, he can lump Eastern Palace and Palace of Darkness onto one trip to that quadrant of the map.
And it looks like P-Train is heading for all the flipper spots that Acmlm was just going. So since both runners are doing, well, what the other runner just did, which item do you think they will find last, and, well, where could it possibly...
Well, we know some things at Pyramid Fairy there. We know that the myths are at the top of Hera, so we've got that checked off of our list at the moment. We're still looking for Kana Samaria and that Bombos medallion, as well as the Ice Rod. We know where the Fire Rod is. So I am going to imagine that our play right now is going to Desert, finishing off the other red crystal there in Desert Palace, and then using the mirror that we have to go through and get to Pyramid Fairy, and that's where the hookshot is going to be.
The only difference is that Acmlm does know about the things that are inside of Pyramid Fairy, and P-Train does not. So let's just see if that affects their, well, the way they actually pick off stuff.
So which tile did Acmlm find that at? That's the question. P-Train now has his mirror. ACM finds out about that the Hera basement is not required. Nice thing about this hints is that a handful of the hints it does tell you one or more locations that are considered out of the way, so can mark those off or on your list depending on what it says is there. So I always enjoy being told those kind of things.
Well, for me personally, hints are always a way of saying what I just did 2 minutes.
There are
let's
plenty.
Have a look. Some cash requires the hammer, so well, that could be basically on Thieves Town Big Chest, the Spike Cave, or the Peck Cave.
P-Train decides to go into the swamp but not finish it as he does. Well, he's got the hammer. There's nothing stopping him from finishing up Swamp Palace at the moment, if I'm not mistaken, or crazy, either or. Oh, right, he still needs that hookshot. Thank you, chat. So we're still looking for that big hookshot that's locking off so much stuff at the moment.
P-Train heading into Desert, which he knows he can finish, and he also knows that it will unlock the pyramid.
So yeah, he may not have gotten that hint that Acmlm has there, but this seems to be a good probability play at the moment. Alright, ACM is going to be finishing up these armor knights. He has the bow and he has the silver arrow, so this is a little less than a breeze.
Oh, and Acmlm forgetting about the checkerboard cave, and it has the hookshot. That is a really rough spot for ACM right there.
Yes, it's one of those mirror locations that gets changed in inverted mode. ACM did not check that out when he was checking out the Mire area, which you're so used to doing at this point. That hookshot is going to be a big play until he remembers that it's there. At the moment, ACM is got a two boss to one boss lead, although that may be changing very shortly. But ACM is going into Palace of Darkness right now, making use of that, how do you say, of that adjacency between the two dungeons.
That is always a really nice spot. If you can just combine Pod and EP, just like mirroring out from Mire into Desert, those are always really... Oh, and well, that was what I was talking about. The hint telling P-Train what he just literally did 2 minutes ago.
I've heard some stories about the hint tile in Hera telling that the boss key is in the chest directly behind that hint tile.
Well, at least you know what you're going to get, so you will never ever be surprised anymore.
All right, let's see. Fire Rod is in plain sight. We know that we did see it, in plain sight. So now that we've got that hook shot out of the way there, the only thing that we are really looking for is that Ice Rod, and we are also looking for our Bombos Medallion to get into Misery Mire and Turtle Rock. Everything else we already have for the most part, aside from perhaps a few luxury items, but that's about it.
Indeed, we only need Ice Rod, Bombos, and Cane for Go mode. That is not a lot in an all dungeon seed in 45. Because the mids are not really required in inverted mode.
Oh, and speaking of the Ice Rod, ACM finds it inside of Palace of Darkness. Alright, so that does put Turtle Logic now fully completable once we get that Bombos Medallion. And actually managed to pick up the Fire Rod. ACM has not yet picked up the boots from... shoot, where did P-Train pick those up at? I am misremembering.
Boots were in Sahasra's closet. And with the current inverted state, you don't need Bombos to get into T-Rock. You can just mirror from the Mimic. And then you are on, well, inside of T-Rock already. That is one of those little nifty things that inverted mode has.
That is right there. We can backdoor Turtle Rock. We'll still need the Bombos Medallion to get into Misery Mire because there's no way to backdoor that. But even so. So if we can... let's see. So ACM has the advantage of having the Ice Rod and having the... but B-Train has the hook shot that ACM may or may not remember exactly where it is. But when he goes to the desert, he'll get that advantage back. Oh, that was a nice hammer up right there.
Very little buffering required indeed. That was a nicely executed. Let's see how land mode goes against P-Train. Silver arrows, normally 3 bullseyes will do the trick. That's 1, that's 2, and the third one will have to wait a couple of seconds. And that's 3, there we go.
One thing to note is that P-Train has the book and has been able to clear Desert, whereas ACM has not picked that up yet either.
Well, Book is the only way to get into Desert in inverted mode, so that makes it a required item in all dungeons.
That's correct. You cannot backdoor Desert Palace anymore, although I guess the backdooring of Turtle Rock sort of makes up for it.
Let's see what P-Train is about to do. He is flying towards Thieves Town to probably get his Fire Rod and clear out both Thieves Town and Skull. Or is he?
Does he remember that he does not have the Fire Rod at the moment? We know where it is and we are able to get it, but we're going to be able to use this Light World tile, so to speak, and where is he going from? Oh, right, he has to get to the Light World Library first. But might be having a pedestal check, actually, by this looks of it. Or not, and I could be completely baited by that. Where are we going?
He's probably going to get his Fire Rod and then, do the rest of the Light World, or the Dark World even, maybe? Kakariko and Skullwoods.
It feels like a little bit roundabout way of getting to the library down there, but it's a good route nonetheless.
And if we look at our pedestal index, we know as commentators that it unfortunately is, because Kakariko Mire is being required for Mire, and well, we know where Fire and Ice Sword are, and those are our and Bombos is also required for Mire.
Yeah, so nothing of interest that can be on the pedestal right now. As you said, we found pretty much everything else of note. The only thing we don't have right now is that Bombos Medallion and the Key of Samaria.
So here comes a really important check from P-Train. That Thieves Town big chest, since Acmlm managed to kill the blind with 3 hearts and Fighter Sword, which is a quite amazing feat, but will it eventually bite him back with just, well, being an item right now?
It's unlikely anything of interest is in there, but it's one of those things that you can't. You have to check on the off chance that it actually is something. So if you skip it, it is a gamble. Wait a second. We still haven't checked Pyramid Fairy yet, have we?
We have not, and we know from ACM that it has a unique item. That was a very, very nice God Pixel from P-Train, by the way. Nice setting it up.
Yes, indeed. Now, there are a lot of unique items that it could be that we are not helpful at the moment. It could be Cave, it could be Mushroom, it could be Boomerang, it could be Shovel, it could be Bug Net, it could be Quake Medallion or something.
It could also be the single arrow.
Oh, that's always a funny one. Yes, it could also be the single arrow. There's only one of those. It is a unique item.
And ACM finally finding his boots, and he must be like, why did the boots have to be there? I could have gone there way earlier. Oh, and just 300 bucks in the Thieves Town big chest, so crisis averted for ACM.
Yeah, that's something that he won't have to check until he's pretty much just stuck for ideas. So he's heading up towards the top of Death Mountain. This is the Dark World version of Death Mountain. Both of them look brown, I know. So we're heading towards what appears to be Turtle Rock at the moment.
And he is going to find his book, which is, he's going to be fairly happy about that, since that is the only way to get into it.
Oh, he's getting the book from Super Running Cave there, and then he'll be able to take on Desert Palace, and perhaps then check what is inside that Pyramid Fairy.
Or, well, most important, what is inside Checkerboard Cave? Because that hook shot is going to be a really small problem if he does not get that fairy.
And he's going to check out one of those. Was he going to try and hover? Or he can get bonk to that first chest there, but I believe he can't really bonk to any of the others unless he uses hover strats, which it doesn't look like he's going to do.
And well, we just saw our unique arrow, so we know it is not going to be in, or at least in the Pyramid Fairy. And it looks like P-Trade is going towards the bed and the back of Skullwoods in the meanwhile.
With the fire rod and tow, that's not a bad riding choice. If something is on pedestal, you want to know about that ASAP.
And we are having a pet check, so it's just nice to know what is going to be on. I'm going for a mushroom. That is always funny.
Oh, just bombs. The pedestal is trapped today.
Well, we do need bombos, but not bombs. It's just one letter difference, but it could mean all the difference.
Indeed.
But as I can assume, well, having fairly good magic, roughly 10 hearts, and a carrot sword, I should be more than fine again.
Yeah, I have a feeling that Mothra is going to go down like a chump. Not if he keeps taking cheap damage like this. There. Oh, ACM is looking to make the same. No, can't be making the same play. But he's heading into the Lost Woods. So is he checking the pedestal, or is he just taking the long way? Yeah, he's just taking the long way around to Kakariko.
He's taking the long way to pedestal until he realized, wait, fire rods in library. Let's head there first.
That's one item where we know where it is, so yeah, take care of that as quickly as possible.
And the moth just hugging all the sides, but P-Train making really nice work. And getting the final item, so that last chest won't be checked by.
Alright, that puts P-Train at 4 bosses to ACM's 3. So P-Train is in the lead in terms of dungeon clears right now.
I would assume he would be going towards Swamp Palace right now. He can effectively clear it. Or Pod, he can clear that one off as well. There is so many things that P-Train can do right now. It is horrible.
The only thing he does not have right now is the Ice Rod, which is sort of not an issue at the moment, because we still can't get in. Well, we can get into Turtle Rock the back way, Selene. But we can't get into it the front way if we ever needed to. Oh, ACM is picking up the Smith. Just the Bloomerang. Well, it's something to check since we were required to do Aga 1 anyway. ACM right now just checking the Magic Bat. So we'll see what Mr. Battenton has to say. Today we are cursed with a single rupee. It's like, waste my time, will you? I will give you the cheapest item location you'll ever check.
That is indeed a curse. Waiting 20 to 30 seconds for just that one green rupee, which you can effectively pull out of, well, the bush outside of Link.
P-Train checking a few of the spots that ACM already has. ACM checking out hammer pegs at the moment. And then changing his mind immediately afterwards, wants to pick up the purple chest first. So he doesn't forget about it? Or did he already check hammer pegs?
He went in and saw it was 3 bombs and thought it was absolutely of no interest whatsoever.
Oh, I didn't even get a good look at what the item was in there. I thought it was a bit further on. But with that purple chest, we'll be able to just take it on its trip very easily down to Mr. Expert, Mr. Former Thief.
I hope that ACM sees the stairway leading to Bombo's tablet and knowing like, oh wait, this is inverted, I can enter Checkerboard Cave. Because he has every single thing to clear out Desert Palace, so let's hope he remembers about that wee little kid.
That's going to be the kicker right here, because P-Train has access to so many more dungeons at the moment, where ACM is just checking off one-off locations, because he has the... Yeah, he can do Desert right now. Ooh, gets a blue potion, that's always nice. He can't check out Swamp. He can check out Skullwoods now, but he's not really in the right location to do that. He can do Ice Palace at the moment. And there's the Bombos.
So guys, send your energy to ACM. Hopefully he won't forget about Checkerboard Cave. And ACM, north. There's your Checkerboard Cave.
So we are down to one item for go mode here. We are looking for that Cane of Samaria, and then we'll be in. Well, P-Train has not found that Ice Rod yet, but we will be in no mode at the present moment.
And we still know that there is a unique item on Pyramid Ferry. So what is that going to be?
We are starting to run out of options for it to be. However, it can't be Ice Rod. We know where that is. There, it can't be. Well, it could be Shovel. It could be Bugnet. It could be Quake. It could be Mushroom, or it could be that Canis Mario that we're looking for.
The only advantage is right now that ACM will find a hint that says a unique item is under a rock in desert. Will he remember he can access it through the light world though?
It's pretty much a giant glowing "Go Here" sign, so I can't imagine that he would not. So out of the things we have access to there, we got ACM checking out that hint. He knows where he will need to go after he finishes desert right now. We know that ACM can't check out Hera right now. P-Train can because he has the hammer and hookshot combo. Same thing with Swamp House, that is locked to him. He can finish out Skull Woods like he was planning to earlier, along with that check before he got distracted by having to go pick up the Fire Rod. The Ice Palace is also fair game for him, but we doesn't have that Bombos medallion to enter Misery Mire just yet. We saw P-Train just pick that up in Paradox Cave, so ACM does not have that right now.
Oh, that was something red and bendy, but not the cane we require. And Ether, the most useful of medallions right now.
P-Train has all 3 medallions right now, so that's one more item off the required item or unique item list that could be inside of Hera. And it looks like P-Train is going to go and reveal that mystery to us. There's something, or no, the mitts are at the top of Hera. We already know that. The Pyramid Fairy is what we are looking for. He can check that out at his leisure now, but is opting to check some of the more one-off locations.
The thing I'm hoping for right now is that the Cane of Samaria is going to be on Laser Bridge T-Rock. That would be a really awesome place for him to have it all to be hidden.
You're correct there, because that's one of the places you normally think would be locked behind itself, but is not in inverted mode.
And P-Train is not doing... Okay, we are going to see what is inside of Spike Cave. And let's see if that hint, which told Acmlm that there was a unique item on Pyramid Fairy, well, let's see if that changes his routing.
Well, he'll make sure he wants to pick up that hookshot before he forgets about it.
That hidden desert is his savior, to be honest, because I think he might have completely forgotten about it.
Yeah, it's something you normally check out while checking Dark Mire, but you can't do it from Dark Mire in inverted mode. Alright, I didn't see what P-Train got from the Spike Cave, but ACM is now heading out of desert and is going to be heading towards pretty much any dungeon of his choice that is not Misery Mire at the moment.
I would assume he was going towards Swamp. Oh, wait, no. I think he's going to do the Pyramid Fairy. Just to see what that item was. Because if it is indeed the unique item of Bombos in his case, or Samaria, which we know it can't be Bombos, but then he is one step closer to that.
Alright, we have the... he had the bomb in tow. Where'd it go? Oh, he blew it up. Oh no, he still has it. He still has it.
That is still a really nice trick to do, the bomb duplication get split. Let's see. We are finally seeing the pyramid in, well, as a whole.
We know where both red and blue boomerang are, so it could be Mushroom, it could be Shovel, it could be Bugnet, or the Cane of Samaria. So that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items?
The Bugnet, That was a very unique item, yet not required.
It's when you get a hint like that, it's one of those things that you have to go check, because if you don't check it, you're specifically told where it might be. Have we checked out that hint in Hera already? I believe we haven't. I think it was one of those joke hints.
No, he just checked it, and it actually said there are boots in a sage's closet. So thank you, game.
Yep, we already knew that. So P-Train is now taking up the climb up the Tower of Hera. We'll be able to take down the heresy that is Moldorm.
And picking up his mitts in the meanwhile as well. So Moldorm has our final item. Oh, what? Thank you, game. I just went into the Spiral Cave. Just wasted my boots right there for a piece of heart, and you're telling me that there was a piece of heart there.
Whoever built Hera saying is like, hey, you should have checked me out in the first place. But now ACM now has the Bombos medallion. So in terms of progression, he is at even with P-Train at the moment. It is anybody's game to find where that Canis Mire is. He's also taking on down 4 bosses, same as P-Train, although looks like to be different bosses. ACM is taking down Helmosaur King, whereas P-Train is taking down Mothula. I believe that gives a small time advantage to ACM, although P-Train now has the mitts and has finished up Moldorm, so that puts him up 5-4.
This is still a really, really close race indeed. And it is all dependent on where that Cane of Samaria is, because I think both of them have cleared nearly the full overworld, and the only thing they have left is dungeons. So in which dungeon are we going to find that Cane of Samaria?
I don't think anyone's checked out Mimic Cave there. Looks like ACM is now inside, took the back door to Turtle Rock. Checking out Laser Bridge right now. With that mirror shield makes going through here a breeze. Don't even have to glitch your way through or anything. P-Train's checking out Mimic Cave as we speak.
So they're both 1 level apart from each other in T-Rock. Oh, half magic. That is a nice find.
We'll make
it's not required?
Easier, but not arcane yet.
But this little trick between P-Train and ACM just shows us what inverted mode is capable of in case of T-Rock. There's just so many entrances right here, and everybody does it. It is his or her own way. It's just lovely to see.
Alright, so now we've got the trade-off there. ACM now checking out the Mimic Cave, while P-Train is going towards the Laser Bridge. Oh, well, it doesn't get the mirror just right, but that's an easy fix.
So we still have some items left in T-Rock where it could release the Cane of Samaria.
We have full access to Turtle Rock, both from the front and from the back. So we'll see how the routing of this goes. Do we go forward and on to Trinex, or do we want to check out the things at the front of Turtle Rock first?
I think basically in inverted mode, the Cane of Samaria is the most trolly thing that can be in T-Rock. Because you are definitely not used to, Samaria being inside of T-Rock, and you do need it to complete it.
That is right. We do need to get through that dark maze with it there, so can't go much further into Turtle Rock this way. We'll have to go back towards the beginning. Is it there? If so, you can complete it. If not, we are going to be searching out one of the other places. We got still several dungeons to go.
And our most favorite enemy, the Chain Chomp. They still deal a ton of damage on the green mail that our runners still have.
Yeah, we have not found any males at all so far, which is a little bit unusual.
And ACM remembering that he did find the big key, so he's going to check out that big chest before heading on.
Well, he turns his big key into a small key, so that's something there. Ooh, manages to bonk over that little barrier.
Unfortunately, that is not required, or not, how do you call it? Not allowed in this mode, so he just mirrored out and then went back. That is nicely played. And he can still check the roller room, so we only have 3 chests after that remaining in T-Rock.
Is that including the one that's on Triton X or no?
That actually excludes it, so we have 4 items left. And Misery is not in T-Rock.
Have we already knocked out all of the items? The rest are just dungeon items?
I believe we found the compass so far, so we still have a lot of stuff.
Oh, that's right. We do need the Misery to go through the front door. So yeah, Misery cannot be locked behind itself. So onward we go. Where is that cane? We are unsure of its location at the present moment. Is it in Swamp Palace? Is it in? We know it's not in Skullwoods. We've pretty much cleared most of that out, if not all of it. Is it in Ice Palace? Is it in Mire? We've got that a 1 in 3 shot of picking a dungeon where it's in.
A vanilla Misery would be amazing right now, though.
That would be hilarious. I would love that. Probably not going to happen, but you never know. He could.
But this is one of those races which is basically being decided by who goes into the right dungeon first. And judging by the amount of dungeons that both of our runners did, this is going to be one hell of a race.
Alright, P-Train is going to Palace of Darkness right now. Needs to finish that out. ACM has already taken care of that, whereas ACM himself is doing Hair, which P-Train has been finished out. So we're not going to be seeing any progression for a few minutes, but they are each trading with each other with the dungeons completed.
But P-Train is going to be happy that he will find that Ice Rod inside the Palace of Darkness, only requiring the Misery after that.
That will be a weight off of his shoulders, but yeah, once we find that cane, we will be in go mode for whoever finds it first. So as of right now, I mean, yeah, we're more or less down to who finds that cane. We still have for which of the 3 dungeons you would check first. There is a lot. There's a lot of things in Swamp. That's usually my first place that I would want to check. But it could be in any of those 3. Where would you prefer to check if you had this 1 in 3 shot?
It all depends on how I feel in the race. If I feel ahead, I will play the numbers game and go into Swamp. But if I feel behind, I might take the more awkward play and go into Mire even for, well, hopefully a vanilla Misery. Just trying to edge the things to my advantage again. But just seeing that Swamp Palace has 6 items, I'm just going to take a wild guess and say both of our runners are going to head right there.
If you're feeling greedy, you could do Ice Palace first, and then if you find it inside of Ice Palace, you'll be able to go mode Swamp and skip that left side entirely. So that could be a play if you want to sort of greed for time.
And Chet does make up a really good point. Ice Palace does have 3 hints. So are the hints worth more than items nowadays? That is the main question as well.
Some of the hints are garbage by design. Some of them point to out of way locations, and some point to unique items. So it's, I don't believe there's any there's a split somewhere, but it's not really given about. So those hints will be very helpful, but we can't. I don't think we can like 100% count on them, but it does really help out.
Nice bomb jump from P-Train as well.
But as chat does say, if we have the option of going to Ice Palace and getting the cane in there, and possibly getting a hint that will tell us that there's something in or not in the left side swamp. So, personally, I'd be sorely tempted to go there first and make that my 1 and 3 choice of note.
And ACM is going towards King's Tomb. He's going to check in on that those Titans mitts holding the cane of some.
Yeah, I guess we haven't checked yet. But no, we just find the old King's heart. It could have been big, but it's a big heart instead. Alright, so now that ACM is out of Hera, where is he going to go next? Okay, he's checking off some of the one-off locations that we've seen P-Train check already. And then, I believe it is on to... Has he finished out Skull Woods yet? No, he has not. So that's where he's probably going to go next, because he knows that's an easy thing to directly skip to. Looks like he's checking out Lumberjack Cave on the way as well.
Yeah, he's going to be very happy to see that blue boomerang, though. That is one of those items that is never required, but sometimes is actually quite handy to have in case of menu. But we are indeed going to see Acmlm heading off to Skullwoods and finishing that. And P-Train clearing out Palace of Dark. They should be done roughly at the same time, having cleared an equal amount of dungeons, having roughly explored an equal amount. It is all about who goes into that location for Queen of Samaria. And for some reason, ACM is still checking the pets, although he should know that the only thing that, well, he needs is the Cane of Samaria.
It is possible that the cane could have been under some fetch quest item, so he was verifying that, I'm assuming.
Yeah, but we know that Mire is a, well, pendant, so that requires cane, so cane can't be on pendant.
Well, yes, I was saying like perhaps the pet had Mushroom and Mushroom had the cane. That's an out-of-the-way chance, but yeah.
But there we go. Helmets are down for P-Train. That is his 6th dungeon, right? Well, 7th even, because they also cleared out Aga 1. That was a beautiful moss fight from Acmlm right there. Taking really quick work of him and finishing off that crystal. And P-Train going to play the mind game and heading into Ice Palace with the odds in his... Or at least not with the odds, but with the hints in there as well.
Well, we'll see what this first hint is right here, after he takes out this Ice Octopus. Oh, nothing from that one, but 2 hints to go and quite a number of chests as well.
I love how that first hint says everybody's looking for something, because, well, they're both looking for Cane of Samaria at this point. And ACM is heading towards Swamp Palace, so we'll get our answer very, very quickly on where the Cane of Samaria is.
Yeah, it's right now, well, it could be in Mire, the early parts of Mire as well. But yeah, this is the 50-50 that I would choose. Although it's more of like, I don't know, what, like 40-40-20 perhaps?
Well, as a viewer and commentator, I love this divergence. It just gives us, well, so much information and so little. So next hint coming up for P-Train right here. Half magic is in Mimic Cave. Thank you very much, game.
That is something that would have been nice if we had known earlier, but at the moment...
Ooh, and P-Train having a little bit of issue with the bomb jump right here. And it looks like he's got it. Just one pixel too low.
Well, hovering it up the gap works as well, but not what we're looking for.
Hey, P-Train must be thinking, if I'm breaking the game, let's break it good. And there we go, has it after 4 tries. A little bit of time wasted, but it's okay. He managed to pull it off.
It's still simpler than taking the long way around, I'll give you that.
Just leaving one of those Pangators alive in that 5 Pangator room, but it's fine. So let's see, what do we find in the... Oh, he's going north side first, going towards the final hint in Ice Palace here.
That could be his savior as well, if this is something we would need to know. Ether's in your house. Thanks, game. We did not know that.
Well, that was probably the best hint I've seen now. 1 hour 20 minutes into the scene, and they say like, well, if you start the game, you fight Ether. But ACM trial opting to skip left side swamp for them. Which I can really imagine. I mean, going straight to Argus, and if you find your go mode item, that is a lot faster than going left.
Yeah, and I was busy looking at P-Train there. Have we found the big key for Swamp yet?
We have. We already checked the big chest out as well, and it was just a big 20.
Alright, so if... I'll take out Argus and then have to check out that left side if something is indeed there. Ooh, now there's the question there. Have we... What is Green Pendant there? Green Pendant is Swamp, so after we finish out Argus, we can check out Sasha's prize as well.
Yeah, we did not have the hint about a nice guy holding something, so that is very much true. Oh, and that is rough for P-Train. I think the big key is inside of the iced tea room or the freezer room.
Could be. But ACM has made it all the way to Argus. We're going to be taking that down. Does Argus have the cane?
I'm going to say Argus has the mushroom leading to the shovel, leading to 10. But nope, it does not have, well, the item required. And I have not checked how many items they found inside of Swamp so far.
He still has to check out the left side, but I was not counting the unique items in there as well. Or not unique items, but you know what I mean. Looks like I've seen from chat about 1 item left on the left side somewhere, so it could be something, it could be trash, we don't know. We don't know.
And big chest and Ice Palace coming up as well. Having... the gold sword. That is a nice upgrade. But it's not as nice as it only speeds up just a couple of fights.
Well, we now have our calorie stick, so onward we go.
And for some reason, still no male upgrades. What is this madness?
Are all the armor stuck in Ganon's lost and found? But regardless, we've got P-Train taking on Cold Stare right now. Few fire rod shots to unfreeze him. And see how well he knows his Cold Stare fight. Gets him into the corner, locks him down. We've got all three of them down easy as pie.
It looks like he played a lot of Mike Tyson's one-hit KO on the NES, because that Cold Stare went down like...
Well, you could say that Cold Stare melted like butter.
Don't you mean like butter?
Like butter!
But Ice Palace did not hold the Cane of some merit. So we have Swamp left, and then the depths of Misery Mire itself. So a French vanilla, maybe even vanilla cane is still on the board.
I would love for it to be vanilla, but we're gonna have to wait for while each of the runners play Swap That Dungeon.
Well, it's not inside of Swamp, not inside Ice, so Green Pendant or Mire are the only two options.
And ACM, he is heading towards Ice Palace, so we are indeed going to swap dungeons. So it's going to be a little bit before we find the answer to our query. But at the moment there, it's either, but we're running out of locations where it could possibly be, so it has to be in one of those two locations.
And if we're looking at the current state, then I think both our runners will finish the respective dungeons roughly at the same time. So this is definitely a really insane race.
This may come down to a Ganon's Tower race. Who can complete it the fastest? If it is indeed in Mire and not at Sasha's. We've checked out the purple chest. We've checked out the smiths. We know it's not them, I don't believe. ACM has not picked up the bacon coin, but I don't think that's going to be checked anytime soon. I think you're right in that that P-Train has not checked out some of the one-offs that ACM has. So we'll have to see if he goes directly for Mire, if he checks off some of those one-offs. Alright, ACM checks hint number 2. It's going through the moving floor room here. Whereas P-Train, let's see whether he decides to go for the left side or saves that for later as well. Alright, and looks like he's going directly to Argus. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. But you're not going to collect the Cane of Samaria no matter which way you go. But we definitely need to take out Argus at the present moment. So let's go onwards to our big Cyclops killing spree. This does make a bit more sense there. It's not that huge of a time loss to retrace the first part of Swamp. But it is a little bit of a gamble, but we know one that will pay off in the long run because ACM took the same route and will be of no major loss to him. All right, P-Train is heading up into the run-up to Argus there, where ACM is just a couple rooms away. Or no, it's not quite yet, but he's getting close to getting towards Cold Stare. So we'll be finishing these dungeons within moments of each other. All right, first phase of Argus already down. Second phase should be finished up very shortly. There we go, another butter sword slash to the face there. One more should do it. Down Argus goes. So he will be revealed that that Argus was holding some bombs, which is creating that nifty explosion effect on him. Gets the green pendant. So now the question is, does he check out Sasha's prize, or does he check out Misery Mire first? Where do you go next? He'll probably... No, he's abandoning the left side. Decides it's not in there. He's going to go directly to Mire. We will see whether or not Misery Mire has the fabled cane of Samaria. What has that wizard Samaria done with his cane? What dark recesses of Hyrule has he hidden it in?
Well, you do need quite high explosives to get inside of Misery Mire, so... who knows?
All right, so we most likely are going to have a vanilla Mire cane of Samaria. So unless it's on that one place that you'll never look inside of Sasha's, it's a rather inconvenient location to check this time around. Sometimes you get an easy green pendant and you can just route it in really nicely. But that is not the case today. Meanwhile, ACM is taking down Cold Stare, manages to trap him in the corner, and takes him down with golden sword damage. He goes down like a chump. So P-Train will be a little bit ahead of terms of ACM in terms of getting into Mire first. But still have not found that item. Where is it? We're going to check here the Bridge of Doom here. Only 20 bucks.
Oh, and an item. So there's only one chance remaining in Mire for the Cane of Samaria. I'm going to say that we are going to find Cane of Samaria in the vanilla big key chest. And the hint above there is going to say the, well, fire thing in Mire holds the Cane of Samaria and whatever items on the other.
I would love that for to happen there.
Oh, and we are going to see Sahash, so we know for fairly sure where the cane is going to be in roughly 10 seconds.
All right, everyone, drum roll, please. Sasha has the man's cane is holding is what he's been holding this whole time.
Sahash not trading his red walking stick for the green pendant. That puts Acmlm in a really, really good spot here.
Oh, that was... I have to say that P-Train took sort of the numbers gamble here, but ACM knew that the old man gotta be hiding something here. My walking stick, no siree, this is a magic item of destiny.
So it's Sashla and the Stick of Destiny then?
Yeah, I believe he was more in the northern park than the south park today, but hey, we'll go with it.
So let's see what the final item in Mire is. Let's hope for P-Train that he finds it really soon. Because the longer he takes finding it, the more advantage Acmlm will have.
I don't know if... I mean, that means that ACM will have to... It can go mode Misery Mire, but I don't believe we found that big key yet. So if he can find that big key, he can go mode the rest of Mire. But where is it? I'm not sure if we've seen it yet already.
We have not seen the big key just yet. And we are going to see a hint check. A bottle in a chest requiring a specialist to unlock.
This far into the seed there? Yes, we've already checked purple chest. Thank you, game.
And that's our big chest. Our big key, even.
Big key is in cutscene chest, so that's not one of the first places that you look. So, in terms of Mire completion time, that's all P-Train is going to waste is the trip in and out, unless ACM has an inkling and goes there first.
And small key, just a big chest remaining. And a piece of heart. So let's see, what does P-Train opt to check first? Because there are still numerous of overworld locations he has not checked yet.
Alright, so... we'll see how much of a time lead ACM has over P-Train after P-Train is going to be checking... Where is he going this time? He already was in Ice Palace, I believe. Where is he going to? Oh, he's just going to the Light World access point?
He still has to check the Zora area here. So I guess that is going to be the first on his list.
Right.
So the longer he takes not going to Sahash, the further ACMLM's lead.
Pretty much there. He has to figure out when to go to Sasha and find that cane. And having completed Eastern Palace and Palace of Darkness now, before completing Swamp, that is going to be a bit later on the checks, because there's two offs that are around, mainly this Zora area for one. So we'll see. But the longer he takes to check, it's one of those items that you really don't want to check because it's far and it's out of the way if you don't route it in with something else.
That is basically what every single seed turns down to. Those long, out-of-the-way single checks which you don't want to do during the seed. And you're still looking for that one single.
Yeah, and then Murphy decides to strike in full force, as P-Train is currently experiencing.
And we are not going to see some spooky action from ACM right here. He's just opting to do it the regular.
So that's Waterfall Cave, Zora, and Catfish just checked right there, whereas ACM is moving inexorably slow, or quickly, which is a better way to say that? Well, anyway, he's moving towards Vitreous, and we'll be running up to him momentarily.
Well, putting some silver arrows into the eyeballs is a really nice way to get rid of Vitreous.
Gold Sword will do that as well.
Oh,
and one arrow to the eye is a one-shot, one-kill for ACM.
That was a glorious kill by ACM right there.
Silver arrows do make Vitreous rather trivial at best, or at worst. So ACM now can move on to Ganon, who has relocated into the nice area of Hyrule Castle.
And P-Train heading toward the King's Tomb.
Oh no, ACM has not checked out Turtle Rocket, finished Turtle Rocket. We know that there was no other further progression items in there, but we still have to finish that out before we can go to Ganon.
This is the best of best ways to to go into T-Rock though. Inverted mode, go mode, it is so fun. I have not seen this yet. This looks like a Pokeball right there.
That's gotta be a reference to something, but I'm not familiar with what it is. But even better, we can backdoor our ways directly to Laser Bridge.
And it looks like we are going to see some big bomb action on P-Train. He is going to find a unique item, just not the unique item he's looking for, because that is in another...
Pretty much. So he's gonna be heading over to Ganon, or towards the castle, pyramid, whatever you want to call it, at the present moment. Meanwhile, ICM is taking on Trinex right now. Ooh, Mire bonks into the river ledge.
Just 3 slashes per head, 2 spins and a slash, and Trinex should be dead. That was a really nicely executed Trinex fight, right?
Expecting a Sakana Samaya, too bad, bugged that time.
And with that, Acmlm has finally completed all dungeons except for Aga 2. So there's only one really small question remaining. Where is that nice golden big key going to be inside of Ganon's? We have 22 locations. Where do you think that the big key is going to be holding out today?
If you're asking me, my favorite chest has got to be Bob's chest, number 14. 14's always been a lucky number for me. I will mention that... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I am going for all the awesome tile room chests, just because I love tile room, and I don't see... well, it up.
P-Train finally gets his cane of Samari. Will be getting straight back into Misery Mire. Going to be finishing that out. ACM is checking out the eastern side of Ganon's Tower. Finds the mushroom in Ganon's old lost and found closet.
It used to be something else, but then it just all got moldy and all. Oh, P-Train, you still have to do Mire. He is going straight for T-Rock, it seems.
Will he remember that he has not finished out Vitreous yet? Or, I mean, I don't think that's got any special routing advantage to do Turtle Rock first and then Mire.
So, 7 chests checked, still no big key in GT. Next up, Firebar Room, number 8.
Yeah, I mean, even if P-Train God modes the Ganon's Tower and finds the big key right off, I'm not sure if that is going to be enough of a time save.
I think at this point, it is fairly safe to say that Acmlm has a decent lead over P-Train at this point.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. I mean, we've seen weirder stuff happen, but you never know. Alright, P-Train skips directly to Laser Bridge through the back door. Is going to be going into face Trinex very shortly. With all the equipment that he has, this should be a breeze. Meanwhile, I see him checking out Random Room, finds a big heart, a small heart, some money, and more money. So nothing doing there.
Well, meanwhile, we did find that confident blue male somewhere. So we do have a male upgrade for it.
Ooh, P-Train's going for the back strats on Trianax. Oh, takes out those heads before they can even move. Great job on that. And luck of the Vulpine today, it is in Bob's chest.
I just have one simple quote from Monty Python in my head right now, and that is, "What do we do with witches?" Why did you have to call it so good?
Come on now, I always call Bob's chest, but I have to get it be right one of these times.
I usually call number 8, and I think the times I've seen number 8 being run right there, absolutely not. But Petrin just has that little bit of thing going on in Mire, the thing with the massive eyeballs before he can head on to.
Pretty much, yeah. Thankfully, he already has the big key right now, I believe. He's checked all of Mire that he can, so he can go directly to Vitreous, so no more searching around for big keys. But ACM is already in Ganon's tower and is already on the gauntlet.
This is some fairly solid gauntlet execution. He is just flying straight through all the rooms.
He's definitely got the weapons to accomplish it. Silver arrows and butter sword will make mincemeat out of most things.
And Link on Ice, still no problem for him. And 1, 2, 3 arrows to get rid of Lanmo 2. Really nice done. Perfectly executed gauntlet right there from me.
Very well done indeed. All right, so we go into the Wizrobe rooms. I'm sorry, no matter how many times I see that, that triple kill always makes me smile.
These rooms always make me smile because this is exactly where the Cane of Sumeria was meant to be used.
Pretty much. You don't normally think of it as a weapon, but it really comes in useful right there. All right, we're getting to the spinning torch or spinning firebar torch room. Makes it through just fine.
He just goes straight through. He doesn't even wait for the possible GT despawn glitch, but he's confident in what.
Not even checking any more chests in the gauntlet. He has everything he needs. P-Train is now taking on Vitreous. And down Vitreous goes there. So P-Train takes it down at about 148-ish there. We'll be heading into Ganon's tower shortly.
But I think it's going to be too little too late, as Acmlm is already on the validation chest and is heading on to our most favorite mathematician boss. You know, angle thingy, Aga2. Can't even
Professor Vel'Koz?
So
all right.
See. That is a lovely pattern to start off with. 1, 2, 3 hits. That is a nice triple. Just 3 more hits to go. 1, 2. So only 1, and then Aga2 will fall.
1, 2, 3, you're shooting energy at me. I hit him back at you, and I finished up GT.
That was brilliant. So let's see what the massive pig has to say to us today.
All right, so ACM is now on the final Ganon fight there. We have, quote, he wants to bring us food. We'll bring you food there. We're going to bring out some bacon.
Well, don't you
The
mean
butter's-
he's already bringing butter, so he should be happy.
It's fine, we'll glaze it this time.
Let's see how many teleports Ganon can still pull off. There's one. There's, well, really little amount of teleports today. And did you find the silvers in Thieves Town? Well, Ganon, let me introduce you to my friend Bo and Eric.
All right, so that's 1 shot, 2 shots, and we already got 2 in there. So that is ACMLM finishing up Ganon sub 2 hour. We're coming up on the 151 mark. The fanfare is playing. We're holding up our sword. The bridge extends, and at least it will. There we go.
And ACMLM winning the race with an official SRL time of 1:51 flat. That is an insane time for an all-dungeon seed.
For all dungeon scenes, indeed, and especially for one requiring that insane Cane of Samaria hunt. So give it up for these runners there. We still got P-Train heading through Ganon's tower looking for that big key, but he should be finding it and be heading onward to Ganon shortly himself. We'll see if we can get ACM in here for an interview in a little bit. Meanwhile, P-Train is checking out, or finishing up Ganon's tower. Should be coming up onto Bob's chest in a little bit, and that's where we're going to be finding our big key. And to make things even more impressive there, we've got a high completion rate for the seed as well. There's very little chests that we have not checked.
Indeed, and it all started out with skipping that Kana burn on the race game.
Who needs Burna anyway?
Well, I would require it. I mean, just like blue cane plus spray paint equals Cane of Samaria.
Oh, yes, we need to... It's like, hey, this is totally the Cane of Samaria. It can create blocks, I promise there. It is definitely not a cheap knockoff.
And you just cast your magic wand and then toss a bomb and cut it square and then you're done, I know. I mean, yes, so. But here we go, Bob's chest, which we know holds the big key for P-Train. And he is finally going onwards to his, well, on his quest to kill the big pig. And I think ACMLM is not coming in for an interview, but if you have any questions for him, he seems to be around in chat, so feel free to ask him questions.
Indeed there. Alright, so we've got P-Train heading up the gauntlet right now. As soon as he takes out these mimics...
But I do have to say, overall, this seed was very, very gentle to our runners. The runners got a lot of progression early on, and the only thing that was really, really trolling them was that cane of...
Pretty much there. As soon as, I mean, we had an aggro 1 required light world. It still feels strange to say that. But yeah, that's what we needed, because that brought us to Light Kakariko, and that got us those treasure trove of items that were inside of Light Kakariko.
I don't think I've seen that many items in Kakariko and South Shore before. That was absolutely glorious to watch.
Pretty much, because we've already got a lot of the major stuff out of the way in the Dark World already. Although, like as we said, the main difference is going to be that that shot after clearing out Ice Palace and Swamp. Did go Mire or Sasha? And that ended up making the big difference in this race.
Indeed, I think that was the difference. Well, I think P-Train and ACM were both maybe 20 seconds apart after they cleared all the... Well, except for Mire and T-Rock, of course, but...
You were submitted, at least, I can tell you that.
But it looks like P-Train is still going for a really, really strong time on all dungeons. He is probably going to be finishing close to the 2-hour mark, which is a really good time for all.
Yeah, he's pretty much mostly done with Ganon's Tower at this point. They've just got a few more rooms to go, and then it's Aga 2 time.
Just picking up the refill right there and heading straight for Mulder.
Should be like one spin and one slash, and they'll be going down. Or just 2 regular slashes, and that will do as well. So Moldrum 2 goes down. Yeah, you want to try hovering that? Let's not do that this late in the race.
Like a knife through butter. Or, well, like butter through Mulder.
There's a better pun in there somewhere, but I can't think of it, so I'm just going to leave that one be. Alright, let's see how P-Train does with his geometry. Ooh, gets 2 hits on the first volley. We'll see how this setup treats him. Another 2 hits, if he can get the same amount of rounds. If he can get 2 hits on this one, oh, only gets 1. So we're gonna have to take a 4th round. This should be fairly simple for him, assuming he does not whiff all 3 shots. There we go. Now Agatu's down there. Only a couple seconds wasted. No, not the end of the world. Yes, take it. Show you out your rage. Feel it coursing through you.
Well, Ganon is that mad that he's just going to smash through Hyrule Castle. Just heading straight for the sewer's chest and, well, guarding it with his life.
Pretty much. Alright, P-Train is now on the Ganon fight there. Ganon's complaining about food once again. We shall feed him cold steel made out of butter. With the gold sword in hand there, we should be able to like one cycle both first and second phases easily, no problems asked.
That just reminds me with one question for you. Have you ever put butter on a Pop-Tart?
I can't say that I have. Wouldn't you think that they're sweet enough with that butter on them?
I have no idea. Let's see how P-Train handles his Ganon. Oh, that could have been a double right there. And
Came
there
close
we go.
to it.
The final hit on Ganon, right.
And it's going to be finishing up this seed seconds before the 2-hour mark. There we go, right in there. We've got a unofficial time of about 1:59:56-ish or so.
And that is indeed the official SRL time at 1:59:56. 2 hours on an all dungeon seed. Well played, Petra.
Very good job to the both of you. GG's in chat for P-Train.
And while we're trying to get P-Train in for an interview, if he's up for it, well, we have a couple of more races actually just started on Speed Gaming 2 and 3. On Speed Gaming 2, we have Jet 082 versus Sabotender. And on Speed Gaming 3, we have JTB versus Solski. So, well, the rando here might be over in a bit, but the rando tonight sure ain't.
As of note there, that Jet 082 versus Sabotender is going to be a key sanity seed. Everything else is pretty much the same, or vanilla, I should say. Whereas the JTB versus Solski match is going to be an all dungeons hard mode seed. So if any of those tickle your fancy, we'll go on and give them a shot. Later on tonight at 7:50, we're going to have Maximum Barnage versus Dr. Bobtastic himself, who is in a seed that's pretty similar to this one. At 8:30, we have Aralis versus Weighty Words, also an All Dungeons Inverted seed. And at 10:20, we're going to have a Dr. Bobtastic versus Maximum Barnage for a key sanity seed. So we've got plenty of rando coming down your way tonight if you want to have a night of rando.
Indeed, we are just getting started with all the rando.
All right, and we are joined here by P-Train there. Glad to see that you finished that seed, P-Train there. That was a very entertaining seed.
It was. This is like the third inverted seed I've ever run, so this was a good time.
All right, so just to start off there, what were your thoughts on the seed overall? Is there anything that you particularly enjoyed or disliked or found trolly?
I enjoyed the opening. As far as inverted goes, I think this was a pretty nice opening. I was really annoyed with the Cane of Samaria spot. I kind of suspected it. Coming out of both ice and swamp, I was highly suspicious, which I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell these things on an all dungeon seed anyways, but I got the flippers, but there was nothing in swamp, and there was, except for the item I skipped most of that. There was nothing in swamp, there was nothing in ice. So I was like, man, like in my mind, I'm thinking flippers are hot. So, but at the same time, I know that Acmlm, he's no stranger to Randomizer, he's no stranger to NMG. I suspected that if it was somewhere out in the overworld and we had to do a scavenger hunt, he was going to out-execute me, so I took a gamble on it being, I guess, vanilla or French vanilla, whatever you want to call it. So I took a gamble on that, which of course didn't pay off, and then I checked all of the flipper lock locations. And then I was like, well, the only thing left that was locked behind the flippers was the green pendant, and that ended up being the cane spot, so...
Yeah, from our end, when we were watching it, you were both doing ice and swamp at the same time, but opposite of each other. You were doing ice when he was doing swamp, and vice versa. And he had checked those; a lot of those went off first. But he had actually made the numerical gamble of checking Sasha before going to Mire, and that ended up being the key decision, I would say.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know. In my mind. And inverted kind of messes with how long I think checks are going to take. because I was thinking, I was like, well, I don't want to flute over there, then have to do a portal. And if this were a normal seed, I probably would have checked Green Pennant before Mire. But with this being inverted, I had it in my mind that I didn't want to go through a whole bunch of warp portals and all kinds of other stuff. I was like, I'm just going to go to Mire and see if it's there.
Yeah, it was very interesting because I mean a lot of the like your routing there was just going in almost like a bit of a, or not your routing, but your routing compared to ACM's were diverging and then reconverging after your choices reconvened after you both checked what the other person had, and then split up and then joined back together again. It made for the lead kept going back and forth. It was very entertaining overall.
I'm glad. Yeah, I tried to avoid the overworld checks in all Dungeon Seed because that's something that's come in my first 2 games. That's something that came back to bite me. I did a lot of overworld checks because I was close to them. Meanwhile, it's an all Dungeon Seed, and I have dungeons that I can complete. So I end up wasting a whole lot of time doing potentially optional overworld checks versus, spending time clearing dungeons that I know I need to clear out anyways. So my strategy was to try to stick to dungeons as much as I could.
That's always a good thought, because the lower you can get your collection rate, the more efficient that you're doing things. That is true there, but sometimes you just get that Sasha's held out on so many important items, so many races that sometimes you just have to check them. But I mean, if it wasn't there, you would have made the correct decision, and it just really just comes down to how the rando decides to be feeling that day.
Absolutely.
All right, so hold on a second. I'm mixing things up. Oh no, yeah, you had checked. One other thing that came down is, what did you think about that hint about where the hook shot was in the checkerboard cave?
Oh yeah, right in desert. It was Wait, where was the hint for hook shot? Was it in desert?
It was in desert. Yes.
Yeah, I remember whatever the desert hint said. I was like, I joke that sometimes you read hints, sometimes you read journal entries. And that was definitely one of the journal entries.
Pretty much there. That hint was well placed there, because for a little bit there, ACM did not check Checkerboard Cave until after Desert. So we were hoping that he had not forgotten about it, but thankfully, that hint really helped him out if he didn't already have it in the back of his mind already.
Yeah, that was one thing that I really enjoyed about the seed, was just the routing, with the exception of Canis Samaria. I felt like the routing kind of took care of itself in the seed. We got a super early Moon Pearl, super early Sword, super early Lamp, which gave really early Aga access, so you didn't have to do a 3-heart Thieves Town, nor a 3-heart Moth or something like that. So all in all, as